California. And this afternoon, we're very fortunate to have a baker with us. We have Christopher Rurka of one of my favorite bakeries, Spring Mill Bread Company. Christopher, welcome. Tell us about yourself.
Yep. Thank you for having me. I mean, we're excited to share a little bit about what we do. And as you know, I'm Christopher Rurka. I'm the son of Catherine Rurka, the owner and founder of Spring Mill Bread Company. And I'm from Washington, D.C., born and raised. I grew up here. I love the community around here, and I'm excited to be back and working for the bakery.
The bread company, it's founded by mom and dad. Can you tell me a little bit about them and about the history, how the bread company came to be, and how they got the name Spring Mill?
Absolutely. So my mom and dad was a lawyer, mom was working in medical sales, and they were kind of tired of the corporate rat race and wanted to do something that they enjoyed doing to make a living and, make a difference. And they found that there was a lack of all natural, breads that were wholesome and without preservatives and fillers. So they decided they'd open a bakery and sell just that. And then the name Spring Mill, when they were researching to open a bakery, they looked around, looked at the milling process, and found that stone milled flours have, higher vitamin and mineral contents due to the lack of heat in the milling process.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spring Mill was kind of an homage to the original, water wheel mills of the past.
So it's good old method, trusted. Time tells us like how wonderful these old methods are, and that's amazing that they kept that tradition and wove it into the name too. And you guys have so many different breads. So my husband and I are big customers of your Arlington location. I noticed that you guys do fresh breads practically every day. My favorite is the peasant white. But if you could tell us a little bit about the products that you guys have.
All right, so we offer a list of daily breads, such as the peasant white, the honey whole wheat, all natural. Simple ingredients are kind of our mantra. Those are fan favorites. And the 7-grain crunch is probably our best seller. However, the ones that people really love, I would have to say, are the pesto Asiago bread and the apple streusel, which are a little more sweet and savory options with some flair to them. And I mean, in the sweet departments, we have a whole lot of things. The Rocky Road brownies fly off the shelves. People always ask for those. The turnovers are the best-selling, probably, range of products as we have, sweet and savory options like the spinach feta people love, or traditional cherry. It's basically a ham pie. What's not to love about a little mini cherry pie you can hold in your hand?
Now, speaking of sweet, summer is around the corner, and you have actually been working on a new creation. And I'm just going to pull up the picture that you've kindly sent me. And if you could tell me all about this, it looks absolutely delicious.
Okay, so this is a product we're very excited about. We're partnering with our friends over at Amore Congelato, and they have this amazing gelato with an even cooler story behind it. It's a health-conscious ice cream, if you will. So they don't sweeten it with traditional sugar. They use, I believe, date sugar in a lot of it.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's more health-conscious. They're packed with protein and vitamins. And the lady Teresa over there has an amazing story, and I'm really, excited to share her product. And then we partnered it with a gluten-free cookie, so the whole offering could be a gluten-free ice cream sandwich. And I think as the weather warms, this is really going to be a cool offering.
So, as you know, these days, everyone's out baking at home. People are trying their best to make homemade cookies, homemade breads, homemade loaves. Is there a tip that you could share as a professional baker to all the amateur bakers and home bakers out there?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked because, as bakers and as part of our mission is integrating our love to bake in ways that serve the community. And sharing tips on baking with the community is a great way to do that. So I would say don't trust your oven's thermostat. Our home ovens tell us when they're at 350. However, that 350 might actually be 325 or, even 300 on an off oven. So get yourself an affordable thermometer you can stick in your oven to make sure you're baking at the actual temperature you should be baking at. And then, don't overmix your doughs. Once the gluten's developed, you can take a beautiful dough and really ruin it by overmixing. So be careful, developing your gluten. And when it's time to stop, It's fun to work with your dough, so it's easy to overdo it. But when it's time to stop mixing, let your dough rest. And sometimes less is more, I guess, is the takeaway. And then, a third last tip with baking is it's like meat. When baking's done, check for the proper temperature, especially when you're just starting out. You might not want to poke a hole in your bread, but poking a hole in your bread might save you the efforts of having to bake another loaf.
So I have a quick question. If you've already got your bread in the oven, and then you open the door and you put the thermometer in, is that going to ruin the bread?
Oh, no. I mean, if you open the oven a lot and often, it's going to lower the temperature. But if you're opening the oven towards the end to check on your bread, it's not going to ruin it. I would, again, advise don't open your oven all the time and make sure you open your oven for brief periods. But if you're a first-time baker, it's important to check the bread temperature so you take the bread out at the proper time, because all different breads are different. Some breads you pull out in the 170s, some, the 180s, some the 200s. Just depends on your loaf. The only way to know is to check, unless you're really an expert. But even myself, I wouldn't consider myself that much of an expert.
They say that when you have a cake, you're supposed to take a toothpick and poke it inside, and then if it comes out clean, you're good to go. Is it the same logic with a bread?
Yes, ma'am. There's a similar logic. However, with a cake, the gluten is far less developed. Mm-hmm. So with the bread, you might not get that same stick factor, while the bread might still be raw in the center. The breads are much more temperature dependent, so the toothpick test might not be as accurate or recommended.
Well, thank you for sharing that tip. So that's helpful for all the amateur bakers out there. Tell me about your handles. When people want to reach you, where can they find you? Your Instagram, any other social media, and also your physical locations.
We're active on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us at Spring Mill Bread is our handle, so just at Spring Mill Bread. And then we're springmillbread.com. However, we're starting a new website, so look forward to new exciting web development in the future with integrated delivery and takeout payment options. And then you can find us in our stores in Tacoma Park, Rockville, Gaithersburg, and then obviously Arlington, where you are a neighbor.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I hope that many people who will be watching this video will also become customers of yours. I can really say there's something about the breads that you guys make. They taste amazing. The sandwiches are fantastic. Just loved every single product that you guys have, and very proud to be one of your customers. And I hope other people will also join me in supporting local. Thank you for spending time with us this afternoon.
Thank you. It was great talking with you, and we're glad we could share a little bit about ourselves with the neighbors, and hope to see more of you in the store.
Thank you so much.